Yeah, but you never know until you get, that's why it's always a good idea, and Charlie Kay always, it's like Dave and myself used to always think, good idea to have people in the room. It's all right, it's all positive stuff. That, you catch things you never thought would be issues, when the clerk says, you know what I've been hearing about is X, or, or council says you might want to be. Tom, you've been to as many of these as I have. I mean, right? Things pop up at that meeting where it's like you hadn't thought about it before, but somebody brings it up.
Yeah. Actually, and Diane Croria is a particularly fertile.
Right. Good.
We good?
He is out. Yep.
Mr. Chair.
Good evening, Littleton, and welcome to the Select Board meeting for October 18th, 2021. Our first order of business is we're going to go into executive session, and we hope to be out of executive session by 6:30 and start up our regularly scheduled programming. At this point, I'd ask the clerk to
Ready for a motion?
give us a motion. Yes, please.
Move that the Select Board vote to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Clause 3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and to convene an open session thereafter.
Second.
Moved and seconded. The chair does so declare. It's a roll call vote. Mr. Glavy?
Aye.
Mr. Notos?
Aye.
The chair's in favor, so it's unanimous. So we are now entering into executive session, folks. We'll be back hopefully by 6:30. Thank you.
All right, it's very close to being.
Good evening, Littleton. Welcome back to the Select Board meeting for October 18th, 2021. We just came out of executive session. We're getting back into our open session. The agenda will, well, actually, before we start, I'd ask the clerk to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Notos. Okay, I'll do a quick rundown of the agenda. We will start with reading of the mail by our town administrator, then we'll get into a joint meeting with the Conscom, and we want to get that moving pretty quickly because they have another meeting to get to, as I understand. We will then get into department and board updates and requests. We've got requests from our conservation agent. Elder and Human Services has some more gifts to be accepted from us. We love that. Police department has a couple of appointments that we're excited and were well attended by our department. The fire department has a request for administrative increase. Finance director has an awarding of a contract that we'll have some debate and discussion around. And Department of Public Works has a couple of items on the agenda as well. We will then have an opportunity for public input. It's fifth on the agenda. Our public input, just ask that you would raise your hand, be recognized by the chair, which is me. And when you are recognized, I'd ask that you come to the podium, identify yourself by name and address, and limit your comments to 2 minutes, please. We will then get into member updates. Then we have some additional appointments for some boards and committees. We then have a public hearing for street acceptance of Bluebird Way. And then hopefully around 8 o'clock, we'll get into special town meeting amendments to some articles and providing recommendations. At 8:15 or thereabouts, there'll be some discussion by the select board for the fire chief hiring process. Then we'll get into the Transportation Advisory Council and looking at some changes to the council, expansion of the makeup. At 8:25 or thereabouts, town administrator, assistant town administrator updates will include a review of the proposed employee handbook. All the employees have had an opportunity to look at this. The personnel board has reviewed it and approved it, so it gives us a final opportunity to take a look at and review the employee handbook. We then have some minutes to approve from the September 20th and October 4th meetings, and then our anticipated adjournment is 8:40, and I know there's a ball game on tonight, so we will do our best to make that happen. Moving right along, some mail, Mr. Town Administrator.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one thing that was shared to us from the Littleton Electric Light and Water Department. This Thursday, they're having a public forum on the sewer project in anticipation for town meeting. It's gonna be a Zoom webinar, and it starts at 7 PM. Again, it's October 21st. For any questions, you can go to their website or email them at info@lelwd.com.
Great.
That's it, Mr. Chair.
All right, we do have a joint meeting coming up next with the Conservation Commission, and it's discussion around the transfer of land. It's an article that we do have on the warrant for 204 and 206 Foster Street, so I see the conscom in attendance and appreciate you guys being here. It is a joint meeting, so I'm assuming you guys are open as well. All right, good deal. Do you want to take the lead, Mr. Glavy, or Mr. Ansaldi, or you guys want to
I
take the
think
lead?
Anthony had more, although it came
Okay.
into me, Anthony had more to
Sure.
do directly.
So Article 10 is a article at this coming special town meeting regarding the transfer of land to the conscom for 204, 206 Foster Street. When the board discussed that at the previous meeting, discussions came up surrounding the uses, and I think hunting became a question on what's allowed, what's not allowed. So the board at that point decided to hold off on making any recommendations, allow conscom to come in so we can have a discussion amongst the two boards and discuss those very issues.
Yeah, the only things I would add is just to kind of give it further sense of where this property lies. It's at the, it's property we acquired, and thank you, we'll pop that up.
Asked and answered.
Thank you. Between the town forest and the property that's been acquired off of Foster Street, conservation property that,
This is the old Durkee farm.
yeah, the Turkey Farm. And the property that the town owns is not under control of the Conservation Commission. It was property we acquired, so it was a tax title?
It was a tax title purchase.
Was it tax title?
Yeah, the Heritage
Yeah,
family, yeah.
sorry.
And the interest in it from the Conservation Commission, perhaps they can speak to more than we can, because it's specific to a project that's ongoing, that our colleague Matthew's been directly involved in, I know.
Trail creation.
Right.
Boardwalk building.
So I don't know if any of you want to take Paul's lead there and kind of,
Well, we can also state that on the last meeting on the 27th, the commission did vote unanimously to support this as well, so with the two. So once we approve our minutes in a half hour, that will be of public record for you as well. So, but obviously, the connection is a great source for us. And we can certainly speak of passive recreation as well. We as a commission have not chatted about the hunting that had come up in between our meetings, but can do that as well.
And the real value of this property from the Conservation Commission's perspective is connection off of Foster to the...
Chase, we all know who you are and for the.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chase Garrett Conservation Commission. Connection from
NCRC would.
Foster to the town forest, right? So there's a lot of work connecting the town forest from the other direction, as well as the K parcel, which we acquired via Durkee. So it's a really nice connection, especially for folks on Foster, who don't currently have a easy access to that point. And furthermore, that the vast majority of that is wetland and really not buildable, either between the wetland or the conservation restriction that's on the back portion of the property. So it's a useful passive recreational parcel for us.
It would be essentially incorporated into, if the proposed change goes through, it'd be incorporated into the town forest to allow for the trail extension easier. Is that a fair way to describe it or not?
I think that would be the aspiration eventually. There's a lot of work to realize that objective. It's not going to happen overnight, but certainly the trust has done a lot of work on the other side of the town forest to start to make that a more accessible parcel.
Mr. Chair, if I might just,
Please, yeah.
it becomes kind of a freighted subject because it came up, and I wouldn't consider it tremendously germane to this topic, but the question did come up. It's like, well, the one impact of it moving from the town's stewardship to the Conservation Commission specifically is it does affect different policies towards hunting. I don't wanted that to be interpreted that nobody here was specifically promoting that. There's some logical reasons why that's not terribly germane here, but the issue came up, so we said, well, we might as well have them in. We would have had you in anyway, appropriately, just to discuss the proposal, but I don't know whether you want to pursue that any further, Chairman, or not.
Well, I think Mr. Nordhaus made some pretty good comments relative to this as well. I'm not sure, I can certainly wax poetic about it, but
I just, I don't want to dictate anything, but I, have been in conversations with LCT about hunting on their property, or, well, they're at least discussing it. And it came to my mind that there are several other conservation agencies that do allow hunting, and actually think it's beneficial to control the deer population, and there are some very good safeguards in place that would actually, I think, make it a safe and reasonable activity. But it's really up to you and your board.
If we could share something with you, I don't think the Conservation Commission would necessarily disagree with that, but if I could share something with
Please
you.
go.
This is the, with the 500-foot offset that you would have from houses to safely hunt on this
Thank you.
property, you can see that
Yeah.
we're talking about a postage stamp.
No, I mean.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I don't think anybody is proposing hunting here.
Okay, understood.
I was speaking in a more broad, just re-examining the complete ban is all I was saying.
Sure.
But right now, our bylaws strictly prohibit hunting, so that if that's something that you want to look at changing at the annual, it would have to be done, because it strictly says no hunting.
And again, not specific to this property, but.
Right, conservation.
anything under the care, custody, and control of the Conservation Commission.
Right.
I don't think anybody is in opposition, I haven't heard any, to making this change. That's why we were game to move it forward on a quicker path than we had, would ordinarily do it. But it just raised the other topic, which, circumstances on the ground in everybody's backyards, it seems to dictate as maybe that's something worth thinking about again, is how we handle that whole issue, which is in your purview, at least in terms of the conservation properties.
But it is something that is the state's made it pretty clear that there's no limit on the number of deer you can take right now, because we're in zone 10, I believe. I looked to Mr. Mullen to give you some clarification. If we're not in zone 10, we're in zone 11, but I believe we're in zone 10, and the deer population is wiping out the young forests and a lot of undergrowth and that kind of thing. So the state is in favor of towns allowing, as my colleague mentioned, with the proper safeguards in place.
And I think it's something that we'd be willing to explore, especially because our conservation partners, the Sudbury Valley trustees, for example, allow hunting on some of their parcels and so on with conservation in mind. So.
Yeah,
Certainly something.
just another point of information. I think you and I were sitting on the board when we accepted this land from tax title from the Herget family, and we've literally had this sitting idle for 4.5, 5, maybe 6 years. So it's to have it rolled in to have
Serving a purpose in the trail system.
exactly making that connectivity. Not that with us owning it, there wouldn't be that opportunity, but just with you guys kind of paying attention to it and managing it, I think everybody's in a better place with it.
And rest assured, this is appreciated and spells it out, but we,
You like my graphics?
for the record, we had that conversation before we ever saw this. It is not lost on us that where you're going to put trails is not where you want to have hunting. We know that, yeah. Okay,
Right,
so that-
right.
This is like the unluckiest deer in the history.
For sure.
All right, so
Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone else from Conscom that wanted to speak, or Carl? No.
I don't even think it requires. It was just more discussion
Unless
dependent.
there was public input. I don't know if there is.
There's no motion for this?
No, there's no motion.
All right.
gonna-
Did we already vote to support it?
You'll do that at the special town meeting later in the agenda.
In the interest of your time, is there anybody that would like to be heard on this matter? Okay. In the interest of time, we have one more item, and I know you guys have to get to a meeting for yourselves, but we do have.
Actually, I think, could the commission leave and you just need me for the next piece of it?
Yeah, that's probably.
They asked nicely.
How are they gonna get on without you, though? Abe?
That's a really good question.
Judy will take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so-
And I
I'll
think
say this
it's
one too.
fair to assume obviously, we're gonna support this article later in the evening when we have the opportunity. Just
Yeah.
wanted to have the dialogue.
Tom, you're all set.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight.
Get out of here.
Thank you.
I guess.
That's what the select board you get, those sweatshirts.
You got it?
Get one?
Absolutely.
I want the dinosaurs to sit.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm talking about. All right, Amy, thank you for being here. We do have, do you want to take a lead on this, the reserve fund transfer
Yes.
for Conscom?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, really quick, so what we had is a situation, we had a tree on conservation land that was directly next to a resident. And the tree was in jeopardy of damaging their property. So we had to remove that. Normally, our Department of Public Works does a great job, and they were able to handle that. Unfortunately, with this particular tree, we couldn't because it required a crane, which you can see the pictures up there that Chris didn't get approved for the crane in the budget, so we had to outsource that. So anyways, it was a
Talk to the
20...
fire chief, we got a tower truck.
Yeah.
Send the money to my account.
So with that, there's an invoice now for $2,100 that need to be paid from the Conscom. They don't have a budget for that, so what we're asking here is the board to approve a reserve fund transfer. Ultimately, it's FinCom's approval, but $2,100 from the reserve fund to conservation to pay for this bill.
Thank you. Amy, anything to add?
It's fairly straightforward. This frankly is the first time in the 6 years I've been here that we had to worry about a crane. Otherwise, Jimmy, Clyde, and Chris have been able to take care of the trees, so.
Okay.
But we will keep a slot for this kind of expense going forward.
Gary's here, so he's been duly notified.
Yes, we'll be dealing with this on Wednesday night in our joint meeting, this in another reserve fund.
Right.
And I will say, going forward, there's a lot of dead ash around town, and I think it's going to be more of an issue.
Can all go into our tree bank, Mr. Stoddard.
Ready for a motion?
Ready, thank you.
Move that the select board vote to approve the request for a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $2,100 to cover the cost for the removal of a tree on conservation land.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Mr. Chair, the next item is a donation. Liz is in here, I told her I covered this for her. It's $560 to Tip John to
Just keep on coming from Ed, huh?
It's unbelievable.
Keep buying hot dogs, people.
And people apparently tip well there, too.
Exactly.
Ready for a motion?
Yeah, please.
Move that the select board vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 53A, and in accordance with its policy on solicitation and acceptance of monetary and non-monetary gifts for public purpose, to accept donations to the Department of Elder and Human Services from Ed's Weenies in the amount of $563 for families in need.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Great. Thank you very much, and thank you to Ed and to Liz and for all those that tip at Ed's Weenies down at Gary's Farm Stand. No plug. Chief, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me tonight. Really appreciate it. As you'll note from my memo that I sent you last week,
What'd you hit? You hit a button. What'd you do?
didn't touch it there, I swear. The memo I sent you last week, we have an appointment, two new officers tonight, one for a full-time position and one for a part-time reserve position. The full-time position, very qualified young lady. Sorry,
You got approval.
we're good. Kim, come on up. Kim Matson is 24-year vet from Townsend PD. She's currently the last 10 years as a sergeant there at Townsend PD. Holds her bachelor's degree and is working on her master's degree as we speak. She's here tonight with her husband Josh Tossi. Josh, he's out back there. Josh is the K-9 sergeant in Lunenburg, Mass. And they're 3 kids, and they live in Townsend. Kim's gonna be an incredible candidate as a full-time officer for our department. Kim, step up to the board, not the mic, and let them grill you with all sorts of questions.
Okay, fantastic. Let's go.
Let's just start with just, if you want to give us, Chief just did a good job of teeing it up for you, but just a little bit about yourself and
Like
why Littleton.
Like the chief had stated, I'm just finishing up my 24th year in law enforcement, which I like to tell everybody I started when I was at least 12. But and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. Moving to Littleton, and they've got great leadership here, and I really am looking forward to continuing to grow as a police officer.
Awesome. Members?
I think we're lucky to have you. Just obviously the years of service and the advancement that you've shown in Townsend already, but also reading through all the various credentialing that you've made the effort to get over your years of service. That's something we always look for in our hires and our promotions, and kudos to the chief for reaching out and finding you, or however that worked. And in any event, excited about having you here. So welcome to Littleton.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
You picked a good place.
See if Mr. Knox has anything to add.
Gagos and
Joe Harris.
Joe, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
yes.
So,
Well, I did have the opportunity to talk to the chief this morning. I'm very impressed with that resume. Kimberly, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
yeah, I'll say just from jump, I mean, when you jumped up when the bell went off, it just shows confidence, and I love that. I think it'd be a great addition, again, looking at all the training and everything, all the investments that you've made in yourself. It makes us feel better about making an investment in you. And I think you're going to be a great asset to our already awesome professional PD.
Thank you.
Thank you. A little bit question the leadership judgment there, but we can work through that.
You voted yes.
Gotta keep them humble. No, welcome, this is great.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here, and I'll entertain a motion.
Well, actually, they're both on one motion, so should we discuss?
You can split them up.
Okay. I move that the board vote to appoint Ms. Kimberly Mattson as a full-time police officer.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Come on.
Oh, thank you.
Want to keep her right here, and then after Zachary comes up, we'll do a picture?
You all set? Yeah.
You guys starting a basketball team?
No, we need some help on our softball team, so. So the next candidate, if you recall, about 8 months ago, I came in front of the board asking for permission to sponsor a young man to the academy. That young man is standing beside us tonight. His name is Zach Merchant. Zach's from Townsend, Zach's from Lunenburg, and his parents are here somewhere tonight. Tom, Dave. He did an incredible job at the academy. He went to the West Boylston Academy, just graduated 2 weeks ago. Zach currently has his bachelor's from SNU, Southern New Hampshire, and is working on his master's through SNU now. We're going to put him on part-time with the hopes that we can probably get him on full-time as soon as possible. As you're aware, we talked about the police reform and how we're losing a lot of our reserve officers if they're not full-time academy trained. So Zach really came to us in a crucial time to step up to the plate, and like his father told me the other night, that he's willing to work 80 hours a week, so we're good.
Still living at home. I'm not Dad. Zach, welcome. Same thing, just a little bit about yourself and why Littleton.
So I'm a little bit different. Obviously, I'm new to this career. I'm a young, motivated kid looking to get into a career where I'm not doing the same thing every day. I'm looking for something new every day. Just ready to get started, really excited about it. I'm excited to be in a place like Littleton. Just meeting everyone through the academy and then meeting people in the department. Everyone was great to me and very welcoming. It's really good.
Great, great.
Great. You ready for a motion?
Do you have any comments? Or?
Oh, sorry. No, no, I just figured.
He's just ready to.
I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Very
Welcome.
impressed with your accomplishments through the academy and excited that you're looking to embrace the town of Littleton. We're welcoming you here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Selectman Knox, if he has any comments, questions?
Play of the week for the Albany Dutchman, that is me.
I'll just say that the whole time that you're in the academy, we have pretty constant communication and dialogue with the chief and with our departments, fire department, police department, and throughout your process of going through the academy, chief was giving us updates and letting us know how you were doing and how you were excited about it, and so that again makes us feel good about making an investment in you. So we're very, very excited to appoint you tonight, and hopefully we can make it a reality and bring you on as a full-time police officer to add to our professional department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I move that the board vote to appoint Mr. Zachary Merchant as a part-time reserve police officer.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. You're in. Come around front and do a quick picture. Bobby, you in there? Smile. You smile, Joe. There you go.
Put your mask on, will you?
You guys are the. Not for you, Chief?
This is your show.
Oh, now I gotta back it up.
Panoramic. Deputy?
Which one are you looking at?
I'm smiling like a fool.
I know. You think of the same thing, yeah.
No, you smile with
It's
your eyes.
nice. Yeah, exactly.
Where are you gonna read a few hours?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matthew, thank you very much.
Thank you all for supporting your brother and your sister.
Thank you.
For coming out.
Let's go back to a three-member board. This
This
one's
is moving along. Omar, when are you going to be up here for an appointment?
When am I coming back, sir? Let me know. I want the free gift. What's going on?
That's Mr. Trinket over there.
Wow.
He always gets something.
All right.
Oh, I forgot to ask what the dog's name was. I always want to know.
Next up, we have the fire chief.
Not the police chief.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Professional fire chief.
Yes, yes. So very quickly, I come before you tonight just to look to increase, this will make Joe's night, increase the smoke and CO inspection fee from $25 to $50. It's covered under Mass General Law 148, subsection 10A, so it's the maximum amount you can charge. I believe we're the only community not charging it because every realtor goes, oh, you're only $25, except for Joe, who always pays shortly after I do the inspection. So I'd ask the board's approval for that and be effective November 1st. And they're leaving town anyway, so what the heck, most of them, so.
Well, appreciate you taking a look at the finances, frankly. It's
All my other fee structures for other types of permits and inspections are all where they should be. This one, for whatever reason, just wasn't.
always stayed low.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for taking a look at it, Tom, and bringing it to us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any questions or comments?
No. Well, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom.
All right. Move that the board vote to increase the inspection fee for residential home sales from $25 to $50.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. And next up, we have Director of Budget and Finance. You playing the role of Alicia?
I guess I will. Chair, what we have here is, it's been 3 years since the board appointed Melanson Heath as the town auditing company. Alicia went out and got 3 quotes again. Although that service is exempt under 30B, we still do our due diligence. With that, Alicia's recommendation is to make a change to Roselli and Clark and award them the next 3-year contract.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Comment anyway, and I'm sure you'll agree, Mr. Chair, because we made the point before. For years, we were saying, it was always in my head, that you should probably change your auditors every 3 or so years. And we had a fine outfit that was here for about 20 years, and then we had a big problem. So as much as I think Melanson has done a great job, I think it's a good idea, especially with 3 quality applicants, to change, and I support Alicia's choice here. I have no direct knowledge of this firm, but their packet reads well, and her recommendation means something. And Anthony, I suppose you can speak to him as well?
Yeah, speaking of that last company, actually, I think went out of business, but they actually sold out their clients to Roselli and Clark, so they're no longer in business now, that accounting firm that you're talking about?
The one prior to Melanson?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's
Yes.
impressive.
So Roselli and Clark is certainly, many communities use them. They're outstanding. They're all pretty good. And Paul, to your point, I think you said it years ago that, normally I think you can change partners and keep the same firm, but not a bad idea.
Yeah.
to change
New
that.
eyes.
That's
new
exactly
eyes.
it. Fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
So in Alicia's letter, she mentioned several things that were missed in the management letter. Can you tell me what that refers to? Was that an audit that was incorrectly done, or?
It's not that it's incorrectly done, they just didn't, sometimes an auditing firm will think they're doing us a favor, right? Not mentioning that. And that's not the way that we really want to operate, because that's, what we want to hear is things that we could be doing better.
Well, we have them.
Right, exactly. So there's items that, quite honestly, should have been mentioned. Not that, again, we're not doing anything wrong. It's just a better way of doing it.
Okay.
And that's what Alicia was
Got it,
referencing.
okay.
All right, good.
Yeah, you want your management letter to have a couple of correctables. If there's nothing in there, then the auditor's not doing their part. If there's too many things in there, you're doing something
That's
wrong.
right.
But you want a few things to correct every year.
We're not perfect by any means.
Mr. Knox, any comments, questions?
All set.
Thank you.
All
Entertain a
right.
motion.
I move that the board vote to select Roselli, Clark, and Associates to provide comprehensive annual financial report and accounting services for 3 years ending June 30th, 2024.
I'll second that, but Anthony, I meant to ask, are any of the representatives from Roselli here or not?
They're not here this
Okay,
evening.
all right. At some point, we'd probably like to meet them.
Yeah, we would like
Yes.
to meet them. Yeah, absolutely. It's been moved, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Great, thank you.
Chris?
Welcome, Mr. Stoddard.
Hello, thank you. So, we're here for, do you have the thing?
Oh, sorry.
Just so I can read it.
Reserve fund transfer.
Yeah, so we're requesting a reserve fund transfer for $14,000 to increase the landfill post-closure monitoring budget. Last year, we had Ty and Bond put together an estimate of what they thought the cost would be. The $14,000 really is the difference in the lab costs of having to test every time we get a high hit. We have to go back out 60 days later and retest. It's really just as simple as that, just to stay DE compliant with Mass DEP. It's kind of a necessity for us, so. And then, just to approve the contract for this fiscal year, for Ty and Bond.
Okay, that's it.
We tied them together,
Did we?
yes.
I see two motions in the
Oh,
There is two motions.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
so that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just First one for the reserve fund.
Yeah.
One question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, other than the need to change the financing, otherwise is the program working to your satisfaction, the monitoring
Yes.
program?
Yeah, yeah, so we're following the, we put a plan together, sent it to DEP a year and a half ago now. They approved it, and now we're following that plan, and they haven't come back with anything to increase monitoring, anything like that. so-
And you're okay with the way it's working?
Yes, yeah, I mean, do I think it's expensive? Yes, but there's not, we can't control a lot. What we're hoping to do is after a couple of years, we can go back to DEP with consistent data and hopefully reduce our monitoring frequency. But we need a few years of data to be able to convince DEP of that. so.
Gotcha. Well, that's
Yeah, everything is tracking similarly. We aren't seeing random spikes, so, yeah, I'm happy with it, so.
Thank you.
All right, any questions?
Nope.
Mr. Knox?
Go, all set.
Thank you.
All right, I move that the select board vote to approve the request for a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $14,000 to cover the increase in cost for fiscal year 2022 landfill post-closure compliance assistance.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, thank you. And you also have the contract with Tie and Bond just for renewal.
Oh, yes, yeah, this is just for the FY 22's contract for post-closure monitoring.
Any questions from the board relative to the, okay?
Move that the select board vote to authorize the town administrator to sign the contract with Tig and Bond in the amount of $128,800 for environmental consulting services for fiscal year 2022 landfill post-closure compliance assistance.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous, great.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
curious why they gave you a $200 discount for next year.
I have no idea.
He's a heck of a negotiator, that Mr. Stoddard.
I probably told them I'd print off the paper.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have public input. So if anybody does want to be heard, just raise your hand.
Come to the floor.
Yep. There's no hands, so I don't have to go into the next level. All right, member updates.
Nothing from me today.
Go Red Sox.
Go. I'm trying, Paul, I'm trying. Mr. Knox, any updates?
I just want to remind people that Trunk or Treat comes up on the 30th. I'll have my truck down there decorated for the kids and bring out candy.
Nice. The big bars, or?
Yeah.
Actually, the only update I have is kind of a cool opportunity, little trivia question. Can you name the high school football team in Massachusetts that was the first team to play for the state championship at Gillette and will also be the first team to play at Polar Park in Worcester? High school team. The answer, your Littleton Tigers. This Sunday, the Littleton Tigers high school football team will be playing against St. Paul's, which is Holy Name in St. Peter Marion, merged, and they're playing the first football game at the first high school football. Holy Cross is playing on Saturday for the homecoming game, and then there's a couple of high school games on Sunday, but Littleton Tigers will play against St. Paul's.
Trivia right back to
10:30.
you. St. Peter Marion High School, what NFL running back played there?
Oh, wow.
Also went to UNH. Joe, you might know this. Jerry Azima.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice trivia.
Used to see him in college at UNH.
Paul, Rich Gedman went to St. Peter Marion.
Yes. Not a football player, but yeah, you're right, he did.
Maybe he should have played some football.
As a Holy Name alumni.
Oh,
So it's Sunday at 10:30, folks. Come out and cheer on your Littleton Tigers. Should be a. And then afterwards, we can all walk over to Southbridge Street and get a Coney Island hot dog. Like I need that. Next up, I think that's all we have for member updates. Next up, we do have a couple of appointments. We do have our Neshoba Orchard, or why does it say Neshoba Orchard? Nagog Orchard. What's that?
Nagog.
Yeah, Nagog Orchard ad hoc working group. Messing me up here. We've got some candidates here that we're going to ask to come forward. Or actually, you know what? can they be heard from their seats, or do we want them to come up with, well, if you come up one at a time to the microphone. But just, we've got your applications, we've got some resumes from some folks and some letters of intent. For those of you that did show up, thank you very much for coming out tonight. And I guess we're just going to ask kind of the same question of each of you, and it's basically what qualifies you to be a member of this ad hoc working group? So,
Alphabetical order.
okay, look at that.
Chase.
So, Mary Chase, 50 Snow Drive. Just Mary in the house? No? Nope. Okay.
We might be starting, are we starting a little early on this? Because we had a schedule, was check.
7:15.
Yeah, it's not much then, yeah.
Well, if Mary comes through the door.
Right,
By
sure.
the time we get through, we'll bring it back. Jennifer Clancy. Ask you to just come to the microphone, identify yourself, your address, and just to let us know why, basically what qualifies you to.
All righty, I'm Jen Clancy. I live at 450 Newtown Road, and next month it'll be 26 years that my husband and I moved to town. So I've been self-employed for 30-plus years in the outdoor sporting goods industry. I run a multi-million-dollar business with all major retailers in New England, and I recently stepped back to have a little bit more time with family and friends, of course. But so from the day-to-day, so I find myself with a little extra time, and I have never served on a board in town, and it's something I feel like I'd like to begin to do. So I know how to research, I know how to follow a lead, I know how to sniff out possibilities, determine viability. All that has made me as successful as I have been in business. As a neighbor to the orchard, I'm a stakeholder in its success as well. I probably go past that orchard a couple hundred times a year. I mean, it's constant, summer, winter. The orchard has so much possibility. I'd happily give my time to help ensure that it's brought back to its full glory so it can be a resource enjoyed by all. There's just a lot that I think it could do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, follow-ups?
No,
Okay.
that's cool.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Go back and see it. Mary Chase is here.
Yes, was that Mary that walked in?
I think so. Miss Chase?
Mary? No?
No, okay.
That's Amy. Nope. All right, so next,
Right.
Melissa Page Crow. Great. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Same thing, just a couple minutes, just what qualifies you to be selected to be a member of the ad hoc group?
My name's Melissa Page Crow. I've lived across the street from the orchard for the past more than 20 years. I lived in Littleton for over 30. My well-being is directly connected to the orchard in a sense. And I'm deeply concerned about the town's stewardship of the land. So I'm willing to put in whatever time it takes to assist the town in making very good decisions about the orchard. I'm nowhere near as articulate as you are. I am an engineer, mechanical engineer, and I'm still working. I am willing to devote time, as much time as it takes. I do have a few questions for you all, but again, I have similar qualifications. I know how to do research, follow a lead. I'm a problem solver. That's why I'm an engineer. So, I do my best to listen to everybody. I'd like to make sure that the town's voice is heard in this. And my questions for you is if you have any concept of time frame for when a decision would like to be made, what kind of time you expect this to take, time investment, for these types of committees, because again, I've never been on a committee in town, so I know it takes a lot of time. You all are here 4 hours tonight. That's a big commitment, but I would like to get a sense of that.
I'll take the lead on that, and my colleagues can jump in if they feel the need. But every committee is a little bit different. With this particular committee, we're looking to have we're looking to seat the ad hoc members, the 2 members at large this evening, and from there, we are probably going to expect that that group would meet, in all likelihood, once a week for a couple of hours per meeting. But the timeframe and the when and the where and all that would be worked out by the sitting group. Let's see. What show this?
I mean, I would, like, based on my experience, there would be a period where it would be more time required. In addition to the meeting, you might need to do a few hours of research or reading. And then as things get solidified, it will doubtless taper off to the point where there's less and less to do as things get final. As far as timescale, like, we wanted to have this settled by the spring, certainly, so that we can start to take care of the orchard again.
And within that time frame, the work of this committee, and that's why we, when we discussed it before, we, structured it as an ad hoc committee to a specific goal, not an ongoing venture. So the mission is as important as, the time frame. Although the time frame is, as Matthew indicated, our hopes is to be back to some initial stages of normalcy with new operation of some sort in the spring. But so the intensive work needs to happen in an early enough fashion that we can bring back recommendations to this board. And that's the mission, is to assess the status of the orchard as it is now with, expanded pool of folks, gathering information, bringing new ideas, doing research, and bringing community input. But, and probably an intensive piece of work over the next few months, helping us toward making a decision sometime in the winter months so that we're in a position to have a new operation up and going. Hard to put much more definition to it than that, but hopefully that gives you some sense of it. It's kind of a, intended to be an intensive effort to give us the best information we have to make some decisions so that, when apples start growing again in the spring, we're in a better position.
Yeah, we have collectively put in a great deal of time, energy, and effort over the last couple of years to try to seat an orchardist, and we've met with some issues, and ultimately would like to try to be doing some work on the orchard, whether it be with somebody else that we've selected as a result of the works of this group. But February timeframe is when pruning typically happens in orchards. And first spraying starts in April. So there is a very specific time. It's a living, breathing orchard. So it's.
I'm well aware of the timetable of the orchard. I live literally across the street from it, so I know. How that works. I just didn't know whether you wanted an answer in 2 weeks or you had a couple of months to sort through everything.
Yeah. So it kind of. I think in parallel, we're going to be. Soliciting, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but in parallel, we were looking at a couple of different paths for to solicit orchardists to apply that would potentially be interested. Mm-hmm. And then once we kind of figure out what the recommendation is from this group, and it comes back here and we deliberate some more, then we'd kind of drive the bus a little bit more and take some action. So I would say.
But probably an intensive couple of months.
Right.
Knowing full well that things aren't going to be halted in the interim. There's going to be some parallel activities, and some of that's going to be kind of dealt with on the fly, necessarily.
Right. Good questions. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks. Oh, I forgot. If Joe has any questions, he can jump in. I don't see Mr. Foltz in the room. No. Maybe Lane's not here.
Through the application.
Okay. So, Amy Tarlow Lewis.
Hello, my name's Amy Tarlow Lewis, and I only live half a mile around the corner from the apple orchard, but pretty close. And I am also very concerned, like everybody else, about the state of the orchard and its decline over the past few years. What I bring with me, I'm the founder and now executive director of Littleton Community Farm. I started that farm back in 2013 with a vision about community-based agriculture and with a mission that's primarily driven towards hunger relief. And so first 2 years, we raised a meager $25,000, which is a huge amount to us at the time, and gained access to land at New England Forestry Foundation. From there, the organization has grown. Currently, we're a $102,000 a year organization, and next year we're going to be moving into a $200,000 a year organization. So we've really been able to, I've been able to grow that organization in partnership with the board in terms of programming and expanding our mission. And I really feel like strongly that I can bring community-based agriculture to this town and really make sure that the community is really involved in the agriculture once an orchardist is found. I'm definitely interested in having that orchard do more community-based work than it's currently doing, whether it's through the school system or it's hunger relief, or education in other ways. I know UMass Amherst Extension Program is always looking to do training work at other apple orchards with their students, and just looking for a broader sense of partnerships to sort of bring in just like a diversity of relationships into the farm. You know, I'm not a farmer, I'm not an orchardist, but, you know, I bring, you know, just some expertise in this area, and I understand, you know, leases to some degree, at least community-based leases with a partner. I am very familiar and have relationships with the other community farms in Massachusetts, some of the big ones like Newton and Lansing, Lexington Community Farm. And many of those farms also have municipal leases, and over time I've talked to them about, you know, their challenges and their strengths and what's going on in their farm, and I've heard about, you know, they usually have some minimal challenges with their leases with the municipality. It's usually around like infrastructure and getting things fixed, but I have a great resource to kind of tap into, and just friends to kind of call and just like ask questions to. So I feel like I also bring my network with me as well. And this is basically what I do now every day. So it's just an extension of what I'm already doing. And I'm always doing research, you know, whether it's for grants. I was at the Concord Library today doing research until they lost all their electrical power. They got kicked out. But I'm always reading a lot of the white papers that come out from the Boston Food Bank and Feed America, and a lot of the hospitals that are putting out data around hunger relief. And so I'm already doing that kind of work already. So that's me in a nutshell.
Pretty good sized nutshell. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, hi, Amy. So it strikes me that apart from the lease, you also probably understand, I don't know the best way to put it, but like you understand a financial model of, you know, having a quasi-commercial place, right, in a municipal setting. And it strikes me that you're kind of uniquely qualified to make this work for the town, as well as for whoever takes over the orchard.
That's true. The farm is really funded through diversified income streams. We have foundations that fund us. We have individuals that fund us. We have grants that fund us. Currently talking to Elder Human Services about a pilot program to help take our food, put it into what we're going to call like a salad CSA, and deliver it through the town's resources to isolated residents, and get cooperative dual funding for that, whether it be through the town or through the state. You know, I've written a lot of state grants as well. I've just seen a lot of different, we also started a big flower garden as a way of bringing in income as well. It's been a really nice thing for us. We kind of gave up the seedling sale in favor of bringing in a flower garden, which is also helping to balance our ecosystem out, to bring in the predator insects that we really need to battle out the pest insects that we have. So, and one of the things that the farm is also doing is, I know I'm talking a lot, that's usually what I do.
You weren't supposed to see me look up there.
So we have really seen the impacts of climate change on our farm, particularly with the really extremes of precipitation on the farm versus sort of then the really extremes of heat. And so we've been approved for another high tunnel. I'm applying for more state funding for caterpillar tunnels to really help us mitigate those issues that we're having on the farm. It was a really tough year for farmers. We had hoped to donate at least 15,000 pounds of food. We're probably going to donate 5, just because of the weather. Wow. So it's been a tough year for farmers. So I'm kind of also networked into the farmers. But
Thank Thank you.
That's, I don't know if you have any questions for me?
Just one, Amy, and it's an obvious one. You probably thought about it yourself. I mean, obviously, I very much appreciate and admire the work you've done with the community garden. But if you had anticipated that the community garden would have any interest in doing something there, that would...
We are so overwhelmed
Okay, I was
with
gonna
what we've
say.
got going on. My biggest challenge is bringing on new staff, you know, and it's just not like an area of
I
interest.
wouldn't discourage an interest there, but it would be inappropriate to have both. So if that's not something that you had in mind, then I just wanted to
Yep,
give you
we
an
worked
opportunity.
with 3 different consultants over 2020, and we built a new strategic plan, which I'm happy to send to you. And I promise you, the apple orchard is not. We just got other, you know, things that we're
Okay,
trying
it
to
would
do.
just make things complicated if that were, you know, something that you would
Yeah,
consider.
my big focus for this coming year is getting QuickBooks sort of like kind of improved, and we want to have 4 staff in the field next year. Staff is going to be our biggest increase to our budget, and looking for our new partnership, hopefully with the Elder Human Services, because that dropped out because of COVID for 2 years. So we're trying to build a new relationship. And then I was talking to Patty Stearns at Loaves and Fishes, because they were funded for a new delivery truck to go into Boston. And at some point, we'd like to build a relationship with Loaves and Fishes to have them come pick up our food, because we expect the amount of food that we're donating to really increase. So my partnerships are really mission related. So.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Knox, any questions?
Not right now, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Amy. Thanks. So James McCabe and Mr. Santoro sent something in. David Sullivan. Same thing, Mr. Sullivan. Identify yourself, your address, and tell us why, what qualifies you to... Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to be here this evening. My wife and I bought the old Morrison house on 91 Nagog Hill Road last November. We had lived 2 miles down the road for 22 years before, for a number of years. And for myself, for the last 40 years, I have served as a faculty member in medical research at Harvard Medical School. I have served or chaired multiple local, national, international boards. I currently chair the board of directors of an international medical organization that reaches out to hundreds of thousands of eye care practitioners. But that's not why I'm really interested in the Nagog Orchard. We abut it, and we have a number of fruit trees on our property, some of whom we've had to remove because of the diseases we never knew about before we moved here. So now we're very familiar with black knot disease and fire blight and sooty blotch and fly speck and the rest.
As are we.
Yeah, and so we've had a number of people, we've had several different companies coming out to try to take care of the property, the trees, because we don't have the background. I can talk at great length about human disease with you, but not fruit tree disease. I'm a lot better at it right now. It's also impacting the shrubs, the others. When we treat these trees, and we've been doing it constantly throughout the year, we're also challenged by the fact that the orchard trees all have the diseases. So how do we keep them away? It's our responsibility to keep that property looking the way it does, or trying to improve it. But we really are interested in the health of that orchard, to try to make it better, to try to somehow improve it. And I guess with my background in terms of research and medical research, a lot of funding. I've written many federal grants and international grants and foundation grants and had them funded. And to me, this is a very important thing, and I'm willing to put the time and the effort that's required. But it all abuts us, and it's impacting us today, and it will continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Not for me.
Thank you.
Mr. Knox, good?
Good.
Thank
All
you.
set.
Mr. Sullivan. Good. All right,
Couldn't see
so
if Mary Chase is here.
is Mary Chase here? No? Okay. So, let's see, Mr. Fultz is not here, and the others we knew were not going to be here. Okay. All right, so we did get some letters and some applications from everyone, and we got some, basically some resumes or summaries of a couple of the folks that were not able to be here tonight. So I don't know if, I can't necessarily speak to anyone that's not here on their behalf. I don't know them well enough to do so, but.
Well, someone's gonna get the ball rolling. I'll say this, it might sound gratuitous, but I think it's pretty accurate here that if you look over the candidates, the folks we just interviewed, and then the ones that sent us in their stated interest in letter by email, form, or whatever, we couldn't go wrong. Any two of the expressed interest folks would all serve us well, and so that part makes it tough. So it's really just trying to think in terms of what the greater, in my mind anyway, the greater group we have. It's a 7-member ad hoc committee that was created a few weeks ago to speak to this particular need. The other 5 slots have already been filled through board members, 2 from this board, myself and Cindy Napoli, who is not able to be here tonight. The Conservation Commission has appointed, I believe, Sarah Seawood, who was here early, a long-time member of that board, and the AgCom has nominated 2 members, Will Pickard and Brad Mitchell. So, our intent here is to get community input, but also if we can tap into talent pools while doing that, that's great too. So, I haven't showed my hand on anybody yet, but I did want to offer that. I don't know.
I think you're right.
I can follow that up, actually. So I think I would second your comment about all of the applicants, and it kills me that I have to turn any of you down, really, because all too often we have too few applicants. So I don't want anyone to be slighted. But in my opinion, there are 2 applicants that I think have very relevant and excellent qualifications. I think one is Amy. I think that Amy has some really strong domain knowledge about, working an agricultural property in concert with a municipality. And I think that her connections with other community farms will be invaluable for advice. I also think that Michael Santoro, who sent us a letter, is an arborist. He is Massachusetts certified. He is, he also lives, I believe he said he lives near the orchard as well, but his list of credentials is pretty impressive. Botany, soil science, entomology, plant pathology, plant identification. He has several degrees. I think that that's the kind of expertise that would really serve the panel well. And so I believe that that would be my recommendation.
Mr. Knox, any comments?
Just to echo what my fellow members have said, we sit here with great candidates and we don't want to slight anyone at all. I was impressed with the letter that Michael Santoro did send in. Seems extremely qualified. Very comfortable with Jennifer Clancy also. I think that she has the energy and time to put in. And my third one would be Amy, so I'm comfortable with all 3 of those.
All right, then I'll jump in on names as well. And I'll second thoughts regarding Jen Clancy that Joe just mentioned. I'll talk to one issue here. It's perfectly open to any citizen of the town, but I would expect that residents who are abutters or who are on Nagog Hill Road obviously have an abiding interest in this, and that the committee's meetings will be posted. Anthony, that's an obligation, right, even though it's an ad hoc committee. So I would expect there to be an opportunity for participation from everybody who's in a abutter, and if I have to make a call in one direction or another, amongst a group of candidates that are all great, then I would probably, and I would opt to appoint 2 members to the committee that, especially since we can achieve that without denying ourselves any talent pool, that aren't necessarily abutters with full expectation that those folks are gonna have input to the process and should anyway. So, if I had to narrow it down to two, and we do, I would likewise narrow it down to Amy and Jen amongst a good pool. So it's on you, Mr. Chair.
Is it? Okay. So same thing, you know, I echo what all of you said, and I very much appreciate anybody that is willing to put forth their time and volunteer time to help out the community. It is a tough decision to leave somebody off the list, frankly. And you know, one person we didn't mention that sent in a resume as well was James McCabe, who's got some great qualifications, also a neighbor. You know, that fire, I think the fire is in everybody's belly to like all of us over the last several months have been trying to do and figure out a way to get the orchard back, frankly. And it's, I mean, I'm kind of in the same vein as Mr. Knox with, I know that Jennifer Clancy has the energy and the drive and problem-solving skills, having met with her a couple times and discussed a few issues. Amy, certainly, I had some conversations with Amy very early on and relative to community farming. And I think that her network is invaluable. I mean, those relationships aren't there, but I'd say kind of the same thing for Mr. Santoro. I do put a little bit of credence in the fact that both Amy and Jennifer are in the room right now, so I think that's where I'd be leaning towards is Amy Tarlow Lewis and Jen Clancy for my selections.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, I think that identifying some of these other folks and certainly Mr. Santoro's resources and knowledge, love to tap into that knowledge base. So that's where I'm at. I don't know if we want to, it's kind of
Want the tally?
the short straw.
What's that?
You want the tally?
Well, I mean,
Well, we haven't
no,
made any
it's,
motions.
I don't think,
Discussion.
I don't think we need to, I think it sounds like we're gonna settle on Ms. Clancy and Ms. Tarlow Lewis, and that's fine. I think that.
I think we'll be well served.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
To everybody's
I agree.
point, yeah, but I think I'd entertain a motion to that end.
Yes, so I move that the board vote to appoint Amy Tarlow Lewis and Jennifer Clancy to the ad hoc Neshoba Orchard Working Group for an indefinite term.
Second.
I just throw a sick in there, let's call it the NAGOG.
Right?
Well, jeez. So
I don't mean to
as-
call you out on that.
As corrected. I move as corrected.
Section's made, it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous, okay. Now the work begins. So you each do have to go up to the town clerk's office and get sworn in.
And actually, so do myself and
Correct.
Cindy and the other.
Yeah, so any of the members, because it's a new board for them, they have to get sworn in at the clerk's office. So, and somebody, either yourself
Yeah,
or Ms. Napoli will be in touch.
Or Anthony or whoever will probably get an email out of contact sometime this week. So get appointed, get sworn in rather, and then we'll try to schedule something as soon as end of this week, beginning of next week. We have town meeting on Monday, so it's a little difficult maybe before that, but probably directly thereafter.
And I think all three of us deeply appreciate the commitment that all of you have shown just by coming here tonight and showing an interest in it. You're welcome to attend the meetings.
Yeah,
I encourage you to.
I reiterate that. I mean,
Yeah.
all the rest of you have shown interest and didn't get appointed but are otherwise interested. You're welcome at those meetings as well. And we'll make a point to include you in the dialogue.
Yeah.
But thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Thanks. All right. I'm not doing so well in the Red Sox game.
Well, I haven't started yet, Chief.
Next up, we do have another appointment, and this is for the Master Plan Implementation Committee. So,
That's easy. We'll only have one applicant, right?
well, it does make it easy. We do have two citizen at large. We do have two citizen at large openings. We do have one applicant, so if anybody is interested in the Master Plan Implementation Committee, which is basically taking all the work that we put into the master plan and putting things in motion. So we do have one applicant. Jennifer, thank you for showing up. And
I'll try to make it fast. I know there's a game going on, so I'll state my case quickly.
Thank you.
So my family and I, we moved to Littleton.
For the audience, you just might want to...
Name and address.
Jennifer Banks, 20 Shattuck Street, just a couple houses down here, actually. My family and I, we moved to Littleton about 6 years ago, and one of the first things we actually did was go to the master planning events, the charrettes, really just dove in, and I was always very impressed with the people that we met there, with the commitment everyone had. I learned a lot about the town, and I've been just interested as things are evolving and things are really starting to happen. I am not a town planner by trade, and I don't know about that part, but that's fine because someone's already done the plan. What I do for a living is I am a fundraiser at MIT, and so I talk to super smart people who are doing things I don't particularly understand, and I translate it in ways that people can understand the impact, they can understand why it's important, they can understand the broad picture of it. And I think that some of those skills are ones that I might be able to bring to help people who are even newer than I am to town, who are wondering what's going on, and there's this 250-page plan, and not everyone has time to read it, and just try to help bring a little bit more of that vision and energy and what's actually happening in ways that are digestible for a lot more people. So I thought I'd throw my hat in for this.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for doing it.
Great.
Any questions or comments for?
Thank you
Ms.
very
Banks?
much for your time.
I don't know.
Yeah, I served on the master plan committee while we were drafting the document and on the implementation committee, and got great satisfaction out of it. The implementation, of course, is the difference maker. It's how we take everybody's ideas and make it happen, and it's a juggling act, but you've been involved since you got here. As you said, you've been to the charrettes, et cetera, so you know what we're up against just logistically in making things happen. So we welcome new hands on deck to help us carry through on that. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Knox? Don't go anywhere yet, Jennifer.
All set.
All set? Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, just exactly what my colleagues have said. Thank you very much for stepping up. And this is, town meeting is an example of some of the stuff that we put in motion. We put into that 250-plus page document. Some of the articles that are coming before us next Monday night for town meeting are a direct result of what basically the residents have put together and said this is what we want. So thank you very much for stepping forward.
No.
All right. I move that the board vote to appoint Jennifer Banks to the Master Plan Implementation Committee for a term expiring June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Motion was made, second by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, you've got to get sworn in too.
Yes, same deal. You have to go up to the town clerk. All right, next up on our agenda is a public hearing. It's a road layout hearing for Bluebird Way. So I think we need to read, well, actually, what time?
Do I have to read the notice? Here we go.
I think we missed it.
That's okay. You might want to acknowledge it was supposed to be.
All right, so
called
my
at 7.
apologies to everyone from Bluebird, or everyone that's here for this public hearing. We are obligated to start the meeting on time when we post it like this, and it's my apologies. Caught up in the appointments and the interviews. So at this time, we will read the notice, and then we'll open the public hearing.
Legal notice, Littleton Select Board Public Hearing, Road Layout, Bluebird Way. The Littleton Select Board will hold a public hearing on October 18th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. at the Littleton Town Offices, Room 103, 37 Shattuck Street, Littleton, Mass., pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 82, on the proposed layout of the following as a public way. The private way, known as Bluebird Way, as shown on a plan entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan, Littleton, Massachusetts, Lot Layout Plan, Jones Meadow, 1 inch equals 40 feet, dated December 5th, 2018, with a latest revision date of June 4th, 2019, prepared by Ducharme and Dillis, Civil Design Group, Inc., which plan is recorded with Middlesex South District Registry of Deeds as page 4 of Plan Number 530 of 2019. Copies of the plans are on file in the Town Clerk and the Select Board's office. Comments thereon may be submitted in writing to the Select Board Town Administrator's Office, 37 Shattuck Street, Littleton, Mass. 01460, or by email to selectboard@littletonmass.org before noon on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021.
Thank you very much. Okay, so need a motion to open the meeting, open the hearing?
Move to open the hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote, Mr. Nordhaus?
Aye.
Mr. Glavy?
Aye.
Chairs in favor, so we are now open, so, want to have, pardon me?
Yeah, Joe worked on, Joe, want to tee it up?
Sure. So, what's before the board is basically a public hearing to accept the layout for Bluebird Way. When subdivisions go through the development process, before they can be acted on by town meeting, the select board must hold a public hearing to accept the layout of the road. In the board's packet, not only do you have the actual layout of the road and any easements that would be accepted by the town, you also have communications from the town planner, conservation agent, DPW director, as well as water department, all supporting the approval of Bluebird Way and recommending acceptance.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any questions or comments from members of the board?
Yeah, just to reiterate all the, whatever outstanding issues there were at different points in the process, look like they've all been
addressed.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one else?
No comments from me.
Invite any.
Yeah, Mr. Knox, any questions, comments?
No, I'll sit here.
Okay, great. At this point, we'll open it up to any comments from anybody that wants to be heard. I just ask that you just raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. I'll invite you up to come to the microphone and give your name and address and a couple minutes to say your piece. All right. All right.
I can make a motion to close
Yeah,
the
I
hearing
mean,
then.
speak now or forever hold your peace.
Silence is assent is what we're assuming here, right?
Roger, all good?
Okay, motion to close the hearing, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. Nordhaus?
Aye.
Mr. Glady?
Aye.
Okay, chair's in favor of closing the hearing, so we are now closed. At this point, any further deliberation from the board?
No.
No, it's pass muster.
Okay.
If there's a headache, we'll find out later. But
That's well done.
Move that the Select Board vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 82, to approve the layout of the private way known as Bluebird Way as shown on a plan entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan, Littleton, Massachusetts, Lot Layout Plan, Jones Meadow, 1 inch equals 40 feet, dated December 5th, 2018, with the latest revision date of June 4th, 2019, prepared by Ducharme and Dillis Civil Design Group, Inc., which plan is recorded with Middlesex South Registry of Deeds as page 4 of Plan Number 530 of 2019, and to support October 25th, 2021 Special Town Meeting Article 15 for the acceptance of said layout.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor, actually, it's a roll call vote. Mr. Nordhaus?
Aye.
Mr. Glavy?
Aye.
Chair's in favor. So it's been accepted. Just,
Great.
yeah, there's no further action, right?
Roger, that's about as easy as it's ever gone for you, hasn't it?
Well, I can't take all the credit.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We take some of the credit, and thank you all for coming out in support.
Thank you.
Rosie? Enjoy the neighborhood, right?
Right.
It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was everybody who lived on Bluebird Way.
It's all 19 houses.
Very impressive.
If that's their first exposure to town government, I hope they enjoyed it. Hope they come back. Come back Monday.
Yeah. All right, so next up, we have a special town meeting amendment to Article 1, prior year's bills.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board, what we have here is with more, unfortunately, more bills of prior year was identified. These were some legal bills, and really what happened is, it's not like we went over budget or anything, it was just not encumbered. So it was an oversight. Alicia did pick it up and identified it, which is great. One of the things that we're doing that, to rectify this going forward, I never liked prior year bills. I think it sends a bad message that you can't pay
Yeah,
your
it
bills.
requires a
on time.
9/10 vote to get it through, doesn't it?
Right, yeah.
And council should be aware of that. I
Yeah,
think.
right, I know. But, so what we do, we're doing anything over $500 needs a purchase requisition and then purchase order before you even order it. So, we're really trying to tighten up the finances even more so than the great job that's been done, even prior to, Alicia getting here with Cheryl. So, you know, this is something that has to go before town meetings so we can get Tom paid.
You could slow play this, right? Is he still in the building?
He's still in the building, yeah, he's upstairs.
Any questions or comments, Mr. Knox?
No, I'll say here, thank you.
All right, you bet. Gentlemen?
So we're just doing a motion to support it. Is that correct?
We're amending
We're
Article
amending it.
1.
Do we need
Include
to-
the new bills there.
Right, to
The
add
additional
that,
bills.
right.
So do we need to
Then we'll
Matthew's
approve
point?
it after, so if you just stick with this motion and then your recommendations, and I think you already took it for the last one too.
No,
I think it was built in.
that one is the motion to support. That's why I was
Right.
confused.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So is there another one? Because I can't find it in the
No, it should
packet.
be just that, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's that.
It's just this?
Right.
Okay.
The amendment, yeah, it has the
Support the
language in it,
amendment.
yeah.
Okay. Move that the select board vote to support the amended Article 1 prior year bills for the October 25th, 2021 special town meeting as printed in the draft 2021 special town meeting handout.
Second.
Motion been made, second by Mr. Glavy. To support? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Thank you, Matt.
Aye.
Aye.
Great, it's unanimous, thank you.
So the
I'll
second,
sleep there for a second. I'm back.
all right, great. The second item I think was covered in that motion on the road layout.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so actually we could skip over 2, because what you're basically doing is voting to support Article 10, which you hadn't done, but you just did in the previous motion.
Yep. No, actually 10, oh, okay, no, I think that the motion on Bluebird Way had support, but I don't think that the Conservation
Right.
Commission motion.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think we
right,
still
okay,
need to
so we
support
need to do
10,
that
right?
section.
Yes.
Correct,
Okay.
Article 10, yes, that's right.
Okay,
And honestly, I don't have a problem with including 15 in it either, just
Just to go through. the-
Make it clean.
really
Okay.
support it.
all right. Double
support.
secret, super support. All right, you ready for a motion?
Yes.
Move that the select board vote to recommend that special town meeting support, wait. That doesn't, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm
they-
trying to parse this here.
the
Move
select
that the
board
select board vote to recommend,
No, just a vote to support.
to
vote to
support.
support Articles
town
10 and 15 for the October 25th, 2021 special town meeting.
I'll second that, although I think recommend is fine as well, same thing, isn't it? Recommending it. But the language Matt made, I seconded.
All right,
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, thank you.
And the last item for the special town meeting is the article presentation and assignments.
All right, so we basically gotta do this tonight, because we don't have another bite at the apple, right?
No more, yeah, no more fights. at the-
so
Cindy's
everything
not
is
here.
basically Cindy and Joe Knox.
No.
Gotta be in the room, brother.
You didn't put your finger up to your
I agree
nose.
with Cindy, but nice prayer.
One thing that we talked about at one of our meetings, and I think, we never flushed it out, but I think it's the, the sewer and the zoning, the 11 and 12 ones. I think all 5 of us, kind of an all hands
Correct.
on deck, whether we need to divvy up, what areas that
Portions.
we want to be, focusing on, but as it turns out, each of those articles is actually going to be presented by different boards, right? Planning board's going to present 11, and water department's going to present 12, correct? But
That's
I mean,
correct.
I think all of us should be prepared for at least some piece of it and be ready for that. And how we divvy that up, I don't know.
I think as it comes up at town meeting, I think we can all just look down the line and say, I'm gonna jump in on that. And
I mean, that's
We could be
fine, but
prepared
I
ahead
wonder
of
whether, I
time.
mean, you know, obviously, the housing component city has a special interest in,
sure.
and by her work, well, Matthew's actually been involved in that
Well,
as well.
but, you know, your point is well taken, which is that depending on the
Should each of us
question.
take a piece of it to be, you know,
Depending on the question.
depending on the
yeah.
question?
Yeah, I think that would make more sense.
So in this matrix, we could just literally put in a couple of words to describe what our piece is, if we wanted to parse that now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Chuck, you're on economic development,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that part of it kind of makes sense.
Sure.
I mean, just, as I say, Cindy obviously has got a housing focal point. I don't mind grabbing the financial impact type part.
Yeah. What about the environmental?
Someone should speak to the sewer, the impact on the sewer project.
Nick's gonna present that article.
But still, if
No, I mean,
questions
the
like-
impact of
People are
550.
going to be looking to say,
Yeah.
what do the selectmen say
Yeah,
about it?
yeah. So
I mean-
that should be one of the two of us, I think, just because we've been most heavily engaged.
And I'm fine with that, but I'm also trying to make sure that Joe and Matthew have pieces of this that are important.
Environmental, I think, is something that,
Well, the master plan goals, you know, the fact that collectively, these projects help us actually act on the master
Attain,
plan.
yeah.
I mean, that comment is worth speaking to, and I don't mind giving up the
what if-
financial piece if it's going to be I'll take the
master plan, the sewer,
I can take any of the above.
you really can.
At one point or other, I've been in all those different
You have.
spots.
But one of you should take the sewer, because, Cindy or I could speak to the master plan, but I don't have the background of the sewer that you do.
Okay, well, Chuck, I'll let you take the sewer then.
Okay.
And I'll focus on the finances part then.
Yep.
All right. And,
So that's Article 11.
That's 11, right?
Rezoning, yep.
Who's taking that one? I'm sorry.
So we're all going to do it collectively, Anthony? Just because there's different components of the article itself. There's the financial
And they kinda
component,
cross over,
There's
yeah.
the EDC component, there's
Oh,
the
okay.
sewer
All right.
component, there's
I
the
get you.
housing, the MPIC, environmental.
Right, so nobody has to.
maybe we should
champion
ask Joe.
one.
Joe, what pieces of that do you want to,
Well, if I'm going to do the sewer, maybe Joe does the economic development, being part of the business, the LBA, and what do you think?
sure.
Does that work, Joe?
I think on 11 and 12, a lot of it's going to be playing this by ear and making comments when we think it's necessary.
Yeah.
But even within that context, before four of us jump
wanna
up
be
at the
prepped,
same
yeah.
time, why don't we, I mean, I would concur with what Chuck just said. If there's, the way these collective projects, enhance the local business community, its effect on that, if that point needs to be raised, you mind being the person to pop up and address that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Okay, good. So we're thinking housing for Cindy on
Matthew, you want to take
Article
the
11?
master plan component?
Yeah, or conservation.
Sure,
I can
yeah.
do both, Cindy may
You
be
mind doing
able to
both?
speak to, yeah.
They kind of go hand in hand. I mean, conservation, of course, part of it just struck me when we were up there walking that site in the rain, is how different things would be if it weren't already developed and their plans didn't already involve keeping the existing trees. Any new development there, you'd be putting saplings in there and you'd wait 20 years to get that effect.
Yeah.
it's already there.
Yeah,
and they don't intend to change it, which is great. I mean, that's,
Sure, yeah.
yeah, but anyway.
So Paul, you are speaking to the finances, right?
Yeah,
Financial.
and to that extent, I'll make sure I go back and
So-
redo my homework to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about on that.
So Cindy should do housing.
Right.
And I'll do conservation, and I don't know who will do master plan, but I think that will come up as a consequence of other questions, so I think that's more of a sort of an answer to people's concerns than,
But it's a good reminder, and
Yeah, it
and
is.
Chuck spoke to it earlier. It's like, all the things you said you wanted,
Yeah, right.
collectively,
Yeah.
here they are, a lot of them, right here on the
Right,
table
right,
at one
yeah.
time. And, it's,
Okay, so. I mean, I think we can literally just pick numbers other than 11 and 12 and 14.
well, you've been most involved in Robinson Road. I think, right?
Okay.
Chuck, and I, for what better or worse, brought the Land Transfer Conservation Commission present, so I don't mind jumping on that one.
Okay.
And after that, I don't really have well, actually, I could give one of those up because I'm the Personnel Committee.
Should be 8, yeah.
That should be mine, so I'll, if someone else would rather grab Matthew, would you rather grab the Conservation Commission transfer land, that one, or?
I'd be happy to take that one, and I was thinking the same for 7, for if anything comes up on the Shaker Lane sale. I can do those two. I'm fairly familiar with them, and I don't have a lot of other articles.
I'll do the collective bargaining, just because I've been involved in it.
Okay.
That'll be a pass, Chuck.
I think it will be, but.
See, he's showing some veterans savvy here, 'cause you pick all the articles, you're never
I want to take 1, 2, and 3.
That's Joe's play. That's Joe's play.
Joe.
Senior senator from.
Dang it.
All right, so Joe's got 1, 2, 3.
Probably 4, too.
Yeah, 4. Cindy's got to have something. Well, community preservation, why not? So did you say who had collective funding? You, Chuck?
That's, yeah.
Is anything going to happen on that, or do we know that yet? We don't know.
Matthew, actually 5 is trails. That's the projects there.
Oh.
In these projects. So you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll do that one too. Yeah.
We don't want to make
That's
Cindy
awesome.
mad. She's got to do something.
So you're doing 8 and 9, both personnel ones, right?
Yeah, they go together. Well, Cindy could have the road acceptance. She could have the grant of easement.
Mhm.
Hey, that's what you get for,
Business meetings.
All right, looking at my chart, I think we checked all the boxes. Anthony, you follow it?
Yep, except 550 King was going to be everybody, right?
Yeah, but
Pretty much.
specifically, like, EDC or business impact is Joe. Sewer is me, finance is Paul.
Right, but everybody can
Yes.
check.
Yeah, I was kind of considering like both 11 and 12 together. Well, I mean, they are separate, obviously, but yeah, right.
Yeah, but there's certainly a nexus there, right?
Yes. I didn't get a chance to see yet your tape to that meeting last Thursday? You did that?
Last Thursday, yeah.
How'd that go?
It went well. Yeah, it went well. I was looking at it before I came down today. Mark did a nice job pulling all those
This was
pieces
the
together.
pre-town meeting. Did we
Yeah.
in on that too? Or?
No.
No.
They don't let me on camera.
Yeah, I think it might be, I would know, maybe about an hour for the whole thing, but certainly looked like an enjoyable format. We'll see what everybody thinks.
All right, good. That's the assignments. Fire chief hiring process. Mr.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Please do, Mr. Knox.
I just, Matthew and I met with Jen, Michelle, and Anthony, and I did give a brief summary to you and to Anthony, but I just want to say Matthew, what he wrote up today included almost everything that happened during that meeting. Kudos to Matthew, and you want to take a hit from here, Matthew. It's almost everything that we talked about in that meeting. He has captured in his write-up today.
Did you have that handy to put up on the screen, or should I just read it, Anthony?
I don't have it handy.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just read it. So, I think that these are the bullets that we agreed to, and I'm happy to hear that it wasn't the case and that I was wrong. Or if there's a better reason, then we should do it another way. But here we go. We decided on a screening committee rather than a search committee. Our intention is that we will review the resumes, advise on which candidates are promoted to subsequent rounds of interviews, or to the assessment center, and listen to input from HR and the entire select board. Our desired makeup of the committee is 2 select board members, 2 public members at large with first responder or public safety experience. And I think we spoke about 2 specific citizens who would probably be good candidates, and 1 member, FinCom's representative to the Personnel Board. We would like to have Michelle present at all meetings for guidance on any process issues that we run into. We believe that we should look at the resumes blind without names or other personally identifiable information if possible. And we all agreed that an outside contractor would be very helpful, not to run the entire process, but we thought that they would manage the assessment center part of it, like assigning the candidates, collecting and distributing the feedback. And we also thought that they could provide a sort of backstop, in case there's something about the candidate which they see that the selection board does not.
Would your intent be to, like, solicit names or bring forward names for us to look at in terms of the...
Citizens at large?
No, well, that, obviously, but I mean, as far as the outside...
I'm going to defer to Anthony and Michelle, who
So I think
both
during
have
the police chief,
experience.
we did 3 to 5 was the thought process, I think, on recommending candidates. Wasn't it to the select board?
I think he's talking about, you're talking about consultants.
Back up, the consultants.
Oh, yeah, we certainly can, we can present, there's a few out there. We can present the names at the next meeting. I don't know, Michelle, did you get all the results back yet from your request?
Yeah, we do have those two. We didn't do more than that.
Right, yeah, we have 2, MRI, which does fire chief's assessments. They actually did one for me in the last community I was in. And then Chief Harrow, is that right?
Sampson, Wayne Sampson.
Okay.
I'd like to be looking at options, frankly, as far as that. I mean, everything you described there sounds fine to me, but at certain junctions, that's a place where I'd like the board to kind of look at who it is we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Pepperell, Air, Boxborough, all recently hired chiefs. I think Tom had mentioned some names that he's familiar with. I think Steele McCurdy, when he came in at the last meeting, had mentioned some firms that he had mentioned. I mean, the more the better. I mean, it's the more candidates we have, the better it is. And then we can vet and see who's the best fit for what we're looking for.
Yeah, we can get quotes and put it on the agenda for the 8th and see if we can get them for then.
Profiles is much interest in quotes, it's not so it's the dollar figure is who they are. I mean, we had a bunch of hiring process over the years, and some have been thrilled with in retrospect, the work that those folks did for us.
In some cases, it's been fantastic. In other cases, not so much.
Right.
So, yeah, let's shoot for the 8th on that. That would be great. Is that reasonable? And then I also just took a wild swing at a timeline,
2 weeks ago.
which is on the screen there. I mean,
Pull it up, I'm sorry, Matthew.
that's okay. No, that's all right.
Can this be circulated to us? Because it wasn't in our
Yes,
packet.
Yeah, I just emailed Anthony and Michelle and Joe because
Just before the meeting, so we'll send this out.
So basically, it looks like, we're looking at March, late March for an offer, if everything goes smoothly. It's how long it's going to take. And April, assuming 30-day notice, could be 60. And I think that the other thing we should talk about is, when the full board gets involved, or when you would like to, have a sort of a check-in or some kind of gate, how much the rest of you 3 want to be involved in the process.
Yeah. Well, I would think we're all seeing this for the first time tonight. I like what I see at the first blush, but by the 8th, we should have had time to digest it and think about, at this point when we're hiring the consultant, I'd personally like to be involved in that. You've already come up with recommendations for membership on there. And I don't have a problem with that only because I don't have a problem with the names I see there, but that's, there wasn't a process for that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
Well, that's why I was bringing it here.
Right.
I mean, this is the time to talk about the makeup of the committee or, make substantive changes to that. But our intention was to, I believe, post this very soon, tomorrow. To get this thing moving as quickly as possible. I don't know if tomorrow's reasonable or not.
Well,
ASAP.
We can certainly post the fire chief as a big job posting by the end of the week.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to ask a question of Michelle. If you want to jump in, please do, from your experience. But historically, what would be the amount of notice that a fire chief would have to give the other community that are coming from, whether a chief now or a deputy? Or, do you have any kind of a read on what that might be?
I think it is usually 30 to 60.
30 to 60?
Yeah.
What are we putting in there?
I put 30 in there, but
Okay.
this was like the the golden path, the best case right there.
No,
So-
yeah, I'd love to see this compressed to some degree, like December 1st, first round invited, January 1st, first round of interviews. And I realize there's holidays and all that kind of stuff, but.
If you're interested in the job.
We could-
If you're interested in the job.
Yeah, the holiday means nothing to you, right? Yeah.
I mean, right, so that's why this is.
Yeah, I'd love, yeah, no, I
sure,
appreciate
I'm
you
sure
doing
we
it, 'cause it
could, I'm
gives us
sure
the
we can tighten it
opportunity
up,
to-
yeah. But also, there may be delays that we don't expect, so.
Yeah, this is true. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, it's a great first go. Appreciate it. All the work both you and Joe put into this. I guess Michelle probably helped a little bit.
Yes, we have to do a community profile. Those items will be attached for, which we can kind of steal the ones that you put together with the town administrator and then add that onto it, so.
At first blush, I'm fine with it all, but I think I'd just like to reserve the right to have it put in a, have a chance to review it, and on the 8th, tweak it, however, whatever, a couple of weeks' time, we're saying. I have nothing particular in mind in saying that, but I'd like to reserve the right to say 2 days after looking at it, I said, how about this, how about that?
So as far as the membership of the committee, what's the next step to finalize that, and when can we do it? Assuming that we can, reach out to the citizens.
But I think to Paul's point, that maybe you can decide on that in the 8th, and then if that's the case, you can, right after the 9th, we can contact
Okay.
those people, unless the board wants to come up with a different process.
That's fine, I just wanted to know.
Why don't we start the process now?
No, we're starting the posting for the board positions.
Yeah. Tonight.
We
Why wait for the
could,
8th?
we could.
What's up,
Well,
Dave?
Cindy's not even here, and I don't think any of us expected we'd be seeing names of the committee to be appointed here, right, right out of the gate. I mean, all that was in our packet was.
Right.
Discussion,
You-
yeah.
You didn't have this
This.
prior to, we didn't get this.
I think we can wait till the 8th to
Yeah.
finalize the
3 weeks
membership
out.
and still be
3 weeks,
okay.
we're losing right there.
What's that?
That's 3 weeks, right?
We're gonna post
No,
the job
because we gotta
description.
post the job description and wait 30 days for that.
For the applicants, so.
So 3 weeks could become 2 weeks. Every week you're shaving off is,
But I don't think we're gonna be reviewing resumes before before Thanksgiving, like the week before Thanksgiving.
Is this new to you tonight too, or were you aware of all this?
no, it's new to me.
So we're losing this week, though, Chuck, because we won't get something out. We still gotta put some work into this by Friday, so with the job posting, so 30 days will start. If the MMA posts it on Friday afternoon, or if they wait till Monday, that's the start of the 30-day clock for the applicants to submit their cover letters and resumes.
And to get the process going, getting it, posting it right away is crucial.
I think posting those other positions we could do tonight as well. I don't think there's a whole lot of resistance from any one of us, 4 of us that are here. I'm just looking at shave days. I mean,
Except we never do it that way, I mean, we usually say we're gonna appoint a committee of X number of members and solicit some input, and now it's like, we're gonna have a committee of X number of members, and here they are. So,
And I don't think appointing the committee is what's gonna be that's not the critical path, it's the posting of the job description.
but it's the first step is advertising the job.
Right.
I mean, obviously, I'm on an island here, but I just think that the sooner we can move it along. So that based on that timeline, that lends the question of an interim chief.
And so I spoke to Mr. Clancy, and he did indicate that he would like us to look for an interim chief, based on this.
So what process is
based
involved
on
there?
what?
Based on
This
assuming that April is a realistic timeline for having a new chief appear.
So once again, other folks knew about this before we did. Okay.
Well, we agreed at the meeting to ask Tom whether or not he wanted to.
Well, I would prefer he hang in there. But,
Yeah, so So I called him and asked him, and he said yes, and this is the first meeting we've had since then.
Yeah, yes, that you're willing to stay, or?
No, yes, that he would like us to look for an interim chief, and so that he can remain deputy.
I thought that was important, Paul, because we wanted to know what the time frame is going to be. And when you talked about makeup of the committee, it was agreed to have 2 people that would have fire experience. Names was thrown out there, but that doesn't mean that that's what we need.
You know what? It is important, and it's a very important position. It's one of the only 3 at the moment, direct reports we have to the board, one of the 2 public safety. In all of the only thing in our packet for first meeting in a couple of weeks is fire chief hiring process, proposed motion, discussion dependent, support documentation, nothing. So all of this that we're getting tonight is new information, and those 2, in my mind, don't jive. Either it's important and we need time to reflect on it, or it's not important, in which case let's, zoom it through. I mean, it's just, I can't recall a parallel where we came in with a full-blown plan for doing something and the board hasn't been given this 3 days in advance to review it over the weekend. I mean, is that so outlandish? I mean, maybe I'm missing something there.
I certainly didn't expect us to review and finalize this tonight.
Well, that sounds like what we're being asked to do.
This is just a proposal. If there are any changes to be made, it's still time to make them. We haven't decided on the makeup of the board or anything, or the timeline. I mean, this is here for your consideration, and we have plenty of time to make changes if changes are warranted, and we don't even have to decide what changes are made tonight. We can come back on the 8th and...
I have no idea what the changes are. Right now, I'm craning my head to read this. I appreciate, you enunciate well, Matthew. I appreciate what you read there. But because it's so important, I think the whole point of having something on the agenda and getting the packet in advance is so that we have time to consider things. And I don't know when this was all generated. I appreciate that everybody's, probably was working on this up until very recently. But one, we've only got 3 voting members here. Joe's, virtually participating. Granted, he's part of the committee, but Cindy's not here, and I can't imagine we would act on something that important without a full board's input.
That's a good point.
So what are you loath to act on?
What am I loath to?
Yeah, like, well, what are you concerned about acting on tonight? Because I don't think anyone's proposing on acting on anything.
Okay, cool. Well, no, actually, it was on the table to go ahead and appoint the committee members, and that's
not for me.
No.
Okay, fine.
Well, that was never the case.
I did propose that we post for potential members, and there are names named, which that'd be great if those 2 individuals were the 2 that put in for it. But I don't know if there's any other folks that are in fire service in the community. I do know that there are other members in the community that could potentially put in for it.
We've pretty much frozen them out at this point. I mean, who's going to put in their name when you already know that?
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. My biggest concern, Paul, was the timeline. And the reason I want to act more quickly, not necessarily doing anything tonight, and I appreciate you going to bat for Cindy for her not being here, and I understand that, and I respect it.
I think the timeline in the middle of the process can be condensed without forfeiting the valuable timeline at the beginning of the process, getting it right out of the gates.
But I also am concerned that we're not going to...
And that's what you're here for. This is just the first go at it, Paul.
Oh, well, that's not what we were just talking about a few minutes ago. We were talking about appointing the members of the committee. So.
No, we weren't. Well, I wasn't.
I just think I'd like to say terrific, great job that the committee's done already. Why don't we digest this information and deal with it on the 8th? And we know that in the interim, we're not losing any time because we're actually going to post a position.
I agree.
In that time period.
I agree.
That's perfect.
Is there any benefit in us having a pre-meeting to town meeting to one agenda item and discuss if there's any movement or any way to shorten up this timeline between now? The 8th is 3 weeks away, so I mean, we usually move on a 2-week cycle.
Okay, we can shorten it up on the 8th. I mean, again, like your point of a whole month before the first round of interviews, that was probably not realistic. So let's look at it and change it on the 8th. But I don't think we'll lose any time by finalizing the committee and finalizing the timeline on the 8th. We're still not going to be close to halfway through the 30 days of receiving applicants.
So if we wait to do anything until the 8th, other than post the position, we're essentially waiting to do an interim search as well, because we haven't.
Which is also an entirely new topic that just landed tonight. So I don't mind waiting a couple of weeks to get, I'd like to see some data on them. Might have some questions we send in to Chief Clancy or Anthony or whatever. I
Mr.
assume-
Chairman, if I could post a recommendation to you.
Please.
The assessment centers, you want to keep in mind too that they have a timeline. They are booked up sometimes, so it's going to depend on your interviews with them on who you choose. So that's going to impact your timeline in the future.
So the
So
sooner
I
we
don't
see
know
the
if you
names of
want-
those folks, the better
If you want
too.
them to come in on the 8th to you, that would speed up your
Yeah.
timeline a little bit.
Right. I don't want to see their names on the 8th. I'd like to see them in advance. So we can
See them here.
Yeah, if we've got some to consider, sure. So they probably, for scheduling purposes, there's nothing wrong with circulating information about who's been identified and who we might invite in on the 8th. Fine, there's gonna be plenty to do.
Is
on
that
the
something
8th.
we can do through, Michelle? Do you think you could get us to the board, get the names of potential consultants? And then we would need to know by the 5th if we can get them on the agenda for the 8th.
Or
If we vet someone, we say, yeah, go ahead and invite them in, or let's.
I guess my only other question for the board would be, would you like us to also post by Friday for an interim fire chief, or would you want to just hold on that?
It's a completely new topic to me here tonight. I'd like to think about that, and I'd like to have a full board and discussion on that. And by the way, it's nice that Joe's able to join us, but I think we, as long as the Board of Health is determined that we've got mass mandates, and the rest, we should be accommodating the public and ourselves with
Hybrid meetings.
Hybrid meetings. It creates this sort of situation, we get 4 members participating, one can't vote because it's not a,
It's not supposed to have a meeting.
What would the next step in an interim chief be?
I don't know, but I'd like to see a memo on that before I jumped
Okay.
on it,
Okay.
All right, so we need some more work before the 8th.
So just an understanding of the process would be great. Because that was something that was sort of an offhand comment at the meeting, and then I talked to deputy chief, interim chief. Sorry, I'm never going to get your title right, Tom.
All right, I got way many titles than pick
Tom.
one.
Tom.
If I can, Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Just to clarify, so I know on the last meeting, when we had the first meeting about the chief's process, the chair asked if I wanted an interim chief. And I said, at this time, no, because my thought frame was by the first of the year. But there's my realistic outlook on life, and then there's reality of the things. And so when Matthew and I spoke last week, and with this time frame, I told, when I accepted the position, I knew I had a lot on my plate, but my Irish pride took over, and I said I can do this. But I also mentioned that if I'm still by myself in January, that's going to be a problem. So not only did I have 3 firefighters out this summer, I also didn't have a chief. So that's another person down. So that's 4. I still have a gentleman out, and I still don't have. It's still me, and I'm doing the best I can, but stuff is not getting done because I can't do it all. And I realize that, and that's why I say if I have to wait till next April, and understanding that I'm not saying push this up and get it done by January. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't want to say get me an interim chief, but I need some help. And that's what I'm coming down to, Paul.
I appreciate all that, Tom.
Yeah,
but
it
does
is.
the conversation even have, is it more appropriate to have an interim deputy or an interim chief? I mean, that's a conversation we haven't
Sure,
even had.
that's a good
because-
point. That's something I hadn't even occurred to me.
I think the title doesn't matter as long as you have some.
Well,
I guess-
you would provide the continuity, and you would
Yeah.
have an additional person.
That's it, yes. So, I mean, we could say.
Am I just envisioning, okay,
Yeah.
Tom steps down, now we're gonna put in an interim who comes in January to April, and yet you're essentially gonna be running it, because you'll be bringing that person up to speed anyway, so maybe it's more, maybe we should be looking for the other, is someone to serve under you.
Sure. You know, because I even envision if you got an interim chief, the two of us are gonna work together, the
Yeah.
title's not gonna matter. I just need.
You need another,
I do.
management level body from the
Yeah.
fire service in there
Yeah,
with you, right?
someone that has the experience to come in and just give me a hand for a handful of months, so that when I'm at a meeting, like today, a department head meeting, I'm not getting 5 things about fire prevention.
Right.
And there's no one else to take them.
No argument here, I'd get you that
But
person in
I
as soon
also-
as possible. Is Randy actually, is he available? I mean, he's retired, right?
That's the reason they retire.
I know.
They don't want to come back. So I just wanted to clarify that it's no reflection on, it just happened last Wednesday. But I spoke with the chair because at the last meeting I said, don't worry about it. So I felt like I just wanted to not contradict myself, but just be realistic about the fact that I could use another management level person in there to give me a hand.
Randy did express interest, Paul.
What's that?
Randy did express
In
interest.
being what? An interim?
Well, he's chief, but if we wanted to ask him for a deputy, we could.
Co-chiefs?
Well, I mean,
Co-chief.
it could solve the problem a lot quicker and take the pressure on us to get the bigger process done right.
Agreed.
I agree with
I
that.
agree, 100%.
Matthew and I spoke about that. That
Yeah,
was part of it.
yeah, we don't want to be, like, if for some reason in April it falls through, we don't want to be tearing our hair out because we have another 2 months ahead of us.
But, following
You look at
the,
my head when you say tear your hair.
But
but it's, again,
What's
it's
going
an
on? Just
idea.
makes
I mean, I acknowledge that, some other folks may have independently thought of it before, but if it's just being tossed out the table now, then, we need to, put some
Yeah,
flesh on it.
Agreed.
And come back.
Yep.
I mean, that's,
yeah, I wasn't pushing for anything final tonight. You're.
but, maybe we can hope to have that interim status, whatever position it is, a lot quicker than January, if that's what people are thinking. I would just bet that if we were looking to fill a chief with an interim position, we would be just that much more slower and deliberative about it than if we were thinking, well, we've already got Tom. What we need to do is have somebody he's comfortable in there working with him, which we could probably do and feel comfortable doing it quicker than if we were putting in somebody that's going to be taking your place.
I think that's a great solution.
But, and again, just because I threw it out here tonight as an idea, I wouldn't want to decide on it tonight either. If we need to meet again between now and the 8th, then fine.
The only reason I offered up next Monday is just because we're getting together at town meeting, so
Oh, I see. Post it for just
It has been the
before
case where we have, instead of getting there at 6 PM, we get there at 5:30 PM.
Yeah, I don't mind the time part of it, it's just,
It's longer.
well, let's not look past this week's game, that sort of thing. We have a lot on our plate on Monday, important things that I think we ought to focus on. Getting that done. I wouldn't even,
On to Cincinnati.
Right. Let's get Monday night done, and if we have to even meet the next night after, I wouldn't be opposed to that Tuesday. I don't care. But,
Okay.
and I'd like to get Cindy's input too.
Yep. Okay. So we're kind of on a. Michelle's going to try to get together some names for us, and then if we feel the need to post for.
Well, based on our discussion here, Matthew and Joe can always gather together with their staff and, take this input and, fine tune it along those lines. If you come back and say, okay, we're ready to come forward and do something, can we post a meeting next week? Is everybody available for it? Fine, I'd be open to that. And I hate extra meetings. That's what I'll do.
Maybe we just have a single agenda item, we do it all virtual.
Always sounds good. Fills the vacuum no matter how.
I know.
That's all right, it's an important topic.
All right, moving on from 9A.
Yes.
All right, so we got TAC, expansion of the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Yes, so
Gary's asked that I just don't like that, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna start hanging a sponge off my.
Gary.
Hey, guys, congratulations, Dan.
Yes. Thanks, Sal. Yeah, Gary LaCroix met with the Transportation Advisory Council, and they talked about membership of that committee, and they felt that it was best to recommend to the select board to expand the membership and include 3 alternate at-large members, sort of like the ZBA, so that they can continue to have a quorum.
Since we have TAC in front of us, Joe, this is the one that you're currently the representative from us, right?
Yeah, I'm currently the rep, yeah.
And you were looking to maybe pass that off to somebody?
I've already done it.
Yeah, if possible, but Anthony did sum up what was there. They just need some alternates, just like the Board of Appeals, so they can have a quorum.
The reason I'm asking that, Joe, is at one point you did express that for whatever reason you've had some challenges making these meetings, and I said that it'd be something I might be interested in jumping in. Am I dreaming this?
No, you're entirely true.
Okay. So I don't know if it's appropriate to make that change now, but what's before us right now is just to expand the membership. Hopefully we can fill it. Do we have any openings in there now?
There aren't any alternate at-large members at all now, are there?
No, we would have to create that.
So the board is fully seated though? Because there was somebody that was on there that was going to be removed?
I think there's at least one vacancy.
Bicycle pedestrian.
Yeah, there was somebody, but he did resign that position. Is there a vacancy right now? Thought that there's one, the member from DPAC, and her name's escaping me, I'm sorry.
Vanessa?
No.
It doesn't show that Ian is on the TAC.
Okay. Well, we can deal with the internal stuff, but as far as for the business before us tonight and adding 3 alternative at-large members, I don't have a problem with doing that. Do you want to just take that action?
Yeah, that's great.
Fine, yep.
All right, move that the select board vote to expand the membership of the Transportation Advisory Council to include 3 alternative at-large members.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Great, thank you.
Aye.
I heard you. Employee handbook?
Employee handbook, Mr. Chair. So, this is kind of part B to the personnel bylaw and changing that, and instead of having a personnel committee, to have a personnel advisory committee, and step 2 was all of the items that were eliminated, or not eliminated, but taken out of the personnel bylaw, now needed to be put into the employee handbook. Obviously, we all know that the employee handbook still needs some work. There's a lot of outdated policies in there that we've talked with Michelle, and it's something that we have to piecemeal and probably take a year to just update everything. To some old
Not the least of
policy.
which is the drug.
The drug, yeah, the drug
it's
policy
A lot of
is-
verbiage in there that's
Right.
probably all outdated and needs to be reworked.
Right, that alone is 25 pages, I think, to the handbook. So, but we needed a starting point, right? We needed to get everything that was in that bylaw into the employee handbook, and then have the select board adopt it tonight, subject if it gets approved at town meeting, and then the works begins to update that.
And the Personnel Committee, we voted unanimously, I think, for those present in support of it. Anthony and Joe put a lot of work in with Anita and Bill, was it?
Anita and Bill worked, yes, on the personnel bylaw, and yes.
So it was a good group effort, and everybody recognizes the need to do it and the recognition that there'll be more work, likely with you driving the changes, Michelle, down by maybe as soon as spring or whenever the next round of changes is. But for the time being, this will suit our purposes and allow us to complement the anticipated change in the bylaw.
Yes, and Anita did volunteer to do the presentation at town meeting for the personnel bylaw.
Yes. Great.
So it's just a work in progress, essentially.
Yeah, but it's, no, it's, I mean,
we're
it
good
stands
for
on its own
motion.
2 feet. It
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
it
yeah,
likely
but
to be.
it's gonna be a
But
fluid.
yeah, the handbook's for sure.
Right?
I think so.
Yep.
Move that the board vote to adopt the Littleton Employee Handbook dated October 7th, 2021, effective upon the passage of Article 9, entitled Amendment to Personnel Bylaws, by the October 25th, 2021 special town meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Great, thank you. All right, we have some minutes from the,
Just September 20th, Joe?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah, I don't
it
think
said the
the
4th, but it's not in.
No, it didn't get finished.
And we haven't seen the ones from the retreat yet, although you circulated a draft. We didn't vote on those, did we? Because I know I made a you sent a draft out.
Sent the draft out.
Sent in something I wanted to see added to it, but we haven't got that yet, right?
Not
Okay,
yet.
all right. It's been busy, I know.
any questions about the 10th, the minutes from the 20th?
All look good to me.
Any motion?
Move that the board accept the minutes from September 20th, 2021.
Second.
Second by Mr. Glavy. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I want to see a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourned.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Folks, our next meeting is technically next Monday night at the Littleton High School is our town meeting. And it starts at, is it 6 p.m.?
7 p.m. is time.
7 p.m., I'm sorry.
Please come, a lot of important things on that one.
We gotta be there at 6, but please come at 7 p.m. next Monday evening at the high school. It's a little different venue, and there's a lot of stuff that is important to our community. So hope that you can come out and be heard, and have a safe week.
You're 2 minutes early.
Look at that, huh?